welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite. Thank you so much for joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very much. You know, earlier we were able to get some information out through FEMA, but I'm so very glad to have with us Fernando Rosario. Fernando, welcome to the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right. And also sitting next to him is Elizabeth Vargas. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right. And y'all are both SBA public information officers, which means through the SBA, y'all get information out. And I think there's been, people get confused. I'm one of those that thinks that FEMA and SBA are the same, but they're not.
They are not. We are two different federal agencies.
Okay.
FEMA in the disasters will help you to get your home ready for you to go back after the disaster,
Right.
make it sanitary and safe,
Right.
and SBA can provide you loans for you to get your house back to what it was before the disaster. So we partner in the disasters to help everyone that was affected by the disaster in the long-term recovery SBA, in the short-term FEMA.
And one of those things, and y'all work together, again, both of those agencies through the federal government, which is really, really nice. But earlier, Gerard was just telling us it's very important that there's a November 29th deadline to register for FEMA. And that's really important because they have to register for FEMA prior to trying to be able to apply
for SBA.
So it's registration and application, and those are two different things. So again, want to reiterate that if you have not registered for FEMA to go in and register, you can do that at the disasterassistance.gov, or you can call 1-800-621-3362. And once you've done that, you can go through the application process, and y'all do low percentage small business loans. Now, an SBA is a small business loan, and I think sometimes people get confused thinking that, well, I don't have a small business, I can't apply. But that's not the case as it relates to disaster recovery, right?
Yes, in a disaster, SBA offers loans to homeowners, renters, and of course businesses and nonprofit organizations. So it's very important for people to know. Don't get confused with the name, because the name is, of course, a Small Business Administration, but in the case of disaster, SBA will help you in the long-term recovery, offering you loans in long-term, 30 years is the term, and
Okay.
at 1.56% for homeowners and renters, nonprofit organizations 2%, and businesses 2.85%. So at 30 years, your payments are going to be low. This is disaster assistance from the federal government. That's why we have these percentage rates as low as those.
And one of the things that when y'all are not doing disaster stuff, you guys are helping promote small businesses. So that's what y'all would do normally, right?
Yeah, it's very important to you receive any communication for FEMA to need to go to the SBA. To apply in SBA, you need to go, if you have to refer to the SBA, you need to go and apply for SBA. If you don't apply, the process maybe stop, and you need to if you like to proceed the process, you need to apply. If you are considered to the loan, you decide if you like or not to take the loan. Mm-hmm. If you don't like to take it, it's your decision. And if you don't have accept the loan or deny the loan, mm-hmm. You maybe have the opportunity to refer again to FEMA, mm-hmm. and FEMA have another grants right? to help you.
Okay. Yeah, and so it's really important to know that, and again, that's one of those things, anybody, no matter what your status is, whatever your status is with your insurance, wherever you have savings or financial, you should go and apply. You don't have to accept the loan, but you can apply. But the first thing you have to do is register through FEMA, mm-hmm. because both of those programs, it's a kind of a stepstone. You got to register first, and that deadline again is November 29th. That's the Monday after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. People need to know you need to register by the 29th to be able to have the opportunity to apply. And so that application, let's talk about the application process. It doesn't take very long, right?
No, it doesn't. And the thing is, as you said, they register with FEMA, they go to SBA. If we cannot approve your loan, we send you back to FEMA in most of the cases, and they have other type of assistance. If we approve your loan, as Fernando said, you don't have to take the loan. There are no fees, no cost. And the process is very, you you have the advantage that we have the Disaster Recovery Center right here at the Civic Center, and there we have personnel that will help you to apply. Fill out your application and upload any documents that you requested to submit, and help you with any questions that you have. So,
Yeah, and so there are lots of different ways to be able to do it. They can do it online, of course, but there's face-to-face, and it's going to be really important. We're going to spend a little more time talking about that in the next segment, but it's a way for people to be able to go and apply and get the assistance that they need, because it can be somewhat confusing. You know, it's already confusing. Is it FEMA? Is it SBA? What is the difference? And how do I do it? And so that's what we want people to know. It is at least start the process. And the only way to get that SBA loan is if, in fact, they have at least a registration number. They've been registered with FEMA. Because if, in fact, like you said, just to recap, if, in fact, the SBA loan is not one that a person wants to take, or if they don't get approved for it, there may be some other services or other monies or grants available through FEMA that's not through SBA. So y'all are that very important piece, but it's not the end all be all that, oh, I didn't get approved, there's nothing else for me. There may be other options for people.
Yeah, and very important to know that if they fill out their application, even if they didn't submit documents or anything, once they're in the system, it doesn't matter if the November 29 comes by. So register and apply.
One of the things that I talk about with all the patients that I work with is that the greatest thing we can do for anybody is to give our gift of presence. And that's one of the things that you guys are, you're present. And so for a lot of the people down here that are confused about what is FEMA, what is SBA, what do I have to do, you have a way to clarify that. And so I want to give out that information again. We're talking about deadlines. For people to have the opportunity to get an SBA loan, and again, there are SBA loans for individuals and renters, homeowners and renters, SBA loans for people with nonprofits, and SBA loans for businesses, and they're a little bit different in the rate. The rate for individual homeowners and renters is 1.56 on a 30-year loan, 2% for those with nonprofit, and businesses 2.85. And so just as a clarification for that, but for them to be able to take advantage of your services, they have to be registered with FEMA. And so I want to give you that number again, and the access for that, for registration for FEMA. You can call 1-800-621-3362 if you don't have access to the internet. But if you do have access, you can apply online at disasterrelief.gov. And so it's important to be able to do that. But for you guys, Elizabeth and Fernando, your option for being present here is really important, because there's so many people that have different cultures, different languages, and y'all have done something about that here at the Civic Center.
Yes, we are at the Civic Center. We have interpreters for Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, and actually our documents, our fact sheet, which is the most important with all the information about our loans, we have them in all those different languages, and we can provide in any other language if they are needed.
Okay, so you can provide that information where they can read it in their own language.
Correct.
So they know exactly what to expect or not to expect. Now, also the expectation is to come and apply. So we want them to register for FEMA, and they can apply for SBA. And the advantage is they don't have to take the loan if they don't like it. But if you're in the system and you register and you're in with FEMA, you have the option of doing that loan and being able to do that. And y'all will walk them through that. Because I think people are nervous about whether I should do this or not. I don't know if I want to get a loan or not. And people get nervous. But let's talk about the advantage of an SBA loan.
Well, the first advantage is that homeowners and renters, they may get up to $40,000 for their personal property to replace it. If you lost your furniture, your clothing, even your car, you can get up to $40,000 if you're a renter or a homeowner. And homeowners may get up to $200,000 to repair their home. So at 1.56%, it is a really good deal, and it is only in these cases of disaster. It's to help the community to recover in the long term. Businesses, they can get up to $2 million for their, to replace or repair their property, their inventory, machinery, or anything. And besides that, they can get economic injury disaster loan. which is maybe they didn't have any damages to their property or their business, but they had to close for a couple of weeks, a month or longer, and they didn't have any income. So that capital that they need to keep working, they can lend it from SBA.
Or to restart that, right?
Correct.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Fernanda.
Yeah, it's very important. If you need more information about all this matter, you go to the page www.sba.gov/disaster assistant, and you see all the information about the Hurricane Ida, the interest rate. If you need to see the fact sheets, all the information in different languages in the portal.
Yes.
Yeah, and so people, if they don't have access or to do that, they can go and see you.
Go to the
Or
to the
you can go to
centers.
the website you just mentioned. So those things are really helpful because it lets people know what the options are. And quite frankly, some people need that money to maybe to get started, where they maybe didn't have any insurance and they just need to get that recovery process going. A 1.5% rate or 1.56, that's really low. And so it's helpful, and the government is finding a way to help people be able to get back on their feet and to get their home back together. And so let's talk about deadlines for application for the SBA loan.
November 29. So go and apply to the Civic Center. You can go and have someone help you, or you can also do it online. And if the deadline comes, once you're in the system and you have your application number, you don't have to worry about anything. We can follow up later on. Your closing or anything, we're going to be in the area until we give and deposit the money to everyone that applied and was approved to get their loan. So, don't worry about that. Worry just to register with FEMA first, apply with SBA before November 29th.
So they need to get both of those things done, the registration with FEMA and the application to SBA.
Yeah.
They need to be able to do those two
Yeah.
things before the 29th. Go ahead.
In case of business, we don't need to register with FEMA. Just
Okay.
go and
For the business
SBA
loan.
for business,
Right.
Non-profit or business in general. Just only go to SBA and apply.
Right, just a general application
Yeah.
process. So is there any discussion about potentially moving that deadline back? Have they talked about that at all?
We don't know.
Okay.
FEMA and the state decide that if
They make the
it is
decision.
needed, it could happen. And we also have our 1-800 number, which is 659-2955.
659-2955. So that number, once again, for SBA, 1-800-659-2955. Some wonderful information. I thank you very much for your time, and also for coming down to South Louisiana to help take care of this Ida-riddled hurricane disaster relief. And so we appreciate y'all taking the time to do that, being away from your family to help us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming when we continue.